Just when you thought North Korea posed no threat to the rest of the world, they announced that they tested a new ultramodern weapon. This goes against the freeze on major weapons testing that has been in place since April of 2018. But the difference is, this ultra-modern weapon is not a nuclear weapon. North Korea's development of nuclear weapons is the problem most people have been focusing on. So how dangerous does this new weapon and the rest of the North Korean artillery make North Korea? Today, Life's Biggest Questions asks, how dangerous is North Korea really? Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that asks the question everyone else is too afraid to ask. I'm Charlotte Dobre, and if this is your first time here, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks again for checking out another video. We are going to start responding to users' comments at the end of our videos, so stick around until the end to see if your comment was chosen. Now let's get into this question. Back in June of 2018, the United States and Kim Jong-un were working toward a denuclearization of the Korean peninsula, and that seemed to be happening for a while. North Korea seemed to start dismantling two missile testing facilities. Back in September, North and South Korea had a meeting, and at the time, North Korea said that they were going to start the denuclearization process. It seemed that peace on the Korean peninsula was on the horizon. But unfortunately, North Korea still has a very strong artillery along the DMZ, and according to recent reports, North Korea has not denuclearized completely. In fact, in recent weeks, they seem to be ramping up their nuclear program yet again. First, let's talk about the non-nuclear artillery threat. The Korean War ended in July of 1953, but since then, North Korea has been building up their artillery and placing it along the demilitarized zone between North Korea and South Korea. According to an estimate by Reuters, Pyongyang has deployed 13,000 artillery pieces along the DMZ, and according to the North Korean Central News Agency, Kim Jong-un went to the Academy of Defense Science, which is where weapons are developed in North Korea. And while he was there, he supervised a weapons test of a new ultra-modern tactical weapon. According to the head of the Korean People's Army Artillery Command, Pak Jong-chon, the weapon was a non-nuclear artillery system. Most experts believe that the weapon could have been firing rockets. As of right now, this directly threatens South Korea and US forces that are on the Korean peninsula. Seoul is just 25 miles south of the DMZ, and Seoul and the surrounding area is home to around 25 million people. There are also around 150,000 US citizens who live in the greater Seoul metropolitan area. South Korea knows that North Korea is still dangerous, which is why the South Korean government has prepared underground shelters that could house the entire population of Seoul. But these underground shelters might not be enough to protect the citizens of South Korea from an attack. If North Korea wanted to, it could deploy at least 3 artillery systems without any warning. One of these weapons is the 170mm Koksan gun, which can fire a distance of 37 miles. There are also more than 22 240mm rockets on truck-mounted launchers that have a range of 37 miles. It is estimated that a civilian attack could result in at least several thousand casualties, which would in turn affect millions of South Korean citizens. Plus, you have to count the hundreds of thousands of US citizens in the area, as well as people from all over the world who are currently residing and traveling in South Korea. To make matters worse, according to the UN atomic watchdog, North Korea also appears to be expanding operations at its main nuclear site, Yongbyon, even though the United States has been pressuring North Korea to denuclearize. Yongbyon is believed to have provided fissile material for its bombs, and recently, according to satellite imagery, components appear to have been brought into a light water reactor being built there. Of course, we can't truly know what's going on in North Korea. The IAEA hasn't had access to the rogue country since 2009, and it relies on satellite imagery to monitor Korea, and also the IAEA also doesn't comment on what they see. But that doesn't change the fact that North Korea was and is still dangerous. They might not pose a threat to most of the world at this time, but they do pose a threat to the people who are close by, in South Korea. That being said, US and South Korean military exercises are still going to be carried out in spring of 2019, so the area is still being protected. We've come to the end of the video, but before we say goodbye, I'm going to read out some comments from my last video. What would happen if a black hole hit another black hole? Pendo Dude said they would make a baby black hole. Not quite, but that would be kinda cute. 96 Nevermore said, don't worry about black holes, NASA lies. If you don't trust NASA, you should probably trust Albert Einstein. King Bong Hogger said, don't you just love the crushing wave of anxiety from watching videos about space? Just one of trillions of things need to happen and we're gone. I actually get excited when I watch videos about space, but yeah, I would say that asteroids make me pretty anxious, not gonna lie. Triggered Popcorn said, how to kill black holes. Shoot them. I don't think that would work, but thanks for the tip. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you for spending a few of your valuable minutes with us. If you want to continue watching this channel, check out the playlist that's clickable on your screen. And if you enjoyed your time here, smash the like, subscribe, and notification bell so we can see you in a future episode of Life's Biggest Questions.